Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing? How are you guys feeling? I really wanted to talk about this for a minute, and I think that I need to just take my time and discuss this because I don't know what it is, but this entire movie just changed my life for the better. And honestly, at first I used to think as a young girl, this movie was absolutely not the best. That's what I thought back then. But I actually had the time to really sit back and really reflect and think deeply about these different female characters and what it represents in each and every person, like woman, every person, I would say, because I don't think this is just applying to like a woman or women, because I feel like males go through kind of some of the similar things that has occurred in this movie. And I know what you guys are thinking, like, girl, what movie are we talking about? We are talking about Waiting to Exhale. Oh my god, this movie, it just completely does it for me. And I think that because it really adds a spin on growing up and like being an adult and what that like really represents and what that looks like, I think that in this movie what I enjoyed is that every one of these women was seeking something, and they were very much so, I would say, desperate in their own life. But it really reflected on how we all as individuals want to find somebody. We all want to be with somebody. Nobody wants to settle in and die alone, and a lot of the times it takes people longer than it's supposed to. Everybody has a biological clock. Everybody's talking about, hey, I want to get married, I want to have beautiful babies, I want all of these things. However, it's not just happening overnight. I feel like I have to kiss a few frogs for me to find a prince, or I feel like I'm convincing somebody or convincing a couple of people, males, female if you're a man, to see that in me, to see that I'm worthy of this and I deserve this, and I can't necessarily give it to myself, because if I could, I would, but I really want to find my person. And in different cases, in different scenarios, I think that when we talk about Robin, I just feel as though she's one of the characters as a absolutely beautiful woman.
At least he told you he was married.
Robin is stunning, absolutely gorgeous, absolutely amazing.
A white woman can have your sorry ass.
But she was lied to by a man, got with this man and he kind of led her on. She found out that he was married. She ended up having an abortion for him. She ended up going through a lot.
This man kept saying he was gonna leave too. She got her hopes all up and everything. Quit her job, even moved to the city he lived in. Right after she got there, she found out she was 3 months pregnant. He ended up dumping the woman. He said his kids would be too hurt if he left now. So what about the baby? So she had an abortion. She never ever told a soul. Not even her mama. She never looked at men quite the same again.
I actually had the privilege of really going through the follow-up after Waiting to Exhale, and I've learned that Robin actually, she ends up having a baby. Spoiler alert, she ends up having a baby. At the end of the Waiting to Exhale scene, we seen that she was pregnant, but in the book we learned that she had a beautiful baby girl, and this girl is like a diva. She's very active, she's very mouthy, she's a fresh little girl, but she's all up in her mother's business. We learned that Robin let Russell go, and from the books we learned that Russell has done time in jail. Russell was rough around the edges.
Robin kept her baby. She now has a very young and opinionated teenager who is a great character, right? Really helped Robin mature and grow up. She gets laid off. She runs into her ex, who's the father of her baby, of her daughter, who just got out of jail.
And so it's nothing. It doesn't faze her in that way. She's beyond that. Thankfully, she knows she deserves better. But now he wants to be in their daughter's life. whole other issue.
And it really got me to thinking, like, Robin really had a type, you know. She really had a type. Because if you think about it, Troy from the movie was also an ex-criminal, you know, because he had an addiction. He was over here, you know, kind of brought her to a house that seemingly looked like it was used to promote the acts of drugs, you know, people selling or using or whatever, you know.
I've only known Troy for 3 days, but already I feel close to him. I wish he didn't smoke, but I can live with one bad habit.
Yeah, he's real cool.
It was a very toxic situation to where he brought her. So she's, for whatever reason, attracting those type of men, you know. The only man that was different was Michael. And when we read the book, you learn that, you know, she ended up, you know, being with Michael, ended up with Michael. Michael has lost a lot of weight, you know, he has slimmed down, and he really was her person, you know.
Eventually she runs back into her old boo, who she really wasn't giving the time of day, but he was a good dude. He's now in shape. He is all the things she would want in a partner. He still has that great characteristic that she loved, but now he's in shape, he's lost weight. Apparently during the time they was apart, he'd been with other women, and his game is better, right? So now they're really hitting it off, and she ends up with a very happy ending, and they get married, and she actually proposes to him, and he's like, oh my god, I've been waiting my whole life for you. I've always wanted you since I first met you. But yeah, right? And it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. We love that for her. She deserved that.
But in the movie, he was the person saying that, you know, I'll give you whatever you want. You know, she called him a human submarine sandwich, saying that she wasn't necessarily attracted to him. But this was the man that ended up giving her happily ever after. But at the time, you know, when she was in bed with him, it just seemed like it was so far, you know. And even after that, you know, they had their back and forth, and it wasn't working out, you know, until after she had her baby. And, you know, life goes on, and you never know what the future holds for you. But she was so very much so intentional with how she dealt with Russell. She felt as though Russell was supposed to be her husband. She felt like Russell was supposed to be the one. If she could put what the connection that she had in her and Russell and these other men, she would have definitely done so. She tried her hardest, you know. Troy over here stealing her wallet allegedly, you know. She tried so hard to find love in these different men, but nobody, not a single person, could measure up to Russell and what Russell was to her, you know. And when I think about Russell indeed was beautiful. Okay, Leon did his big one. Russell was beautiful. Okay, and Leon is a handsome man, period. But I loved how she, you know, felt about him, and he was acting all jealous, knowing that he has a whole wife, you know. And her giving Savannah advice was absolutely funny to me, because it's like both of them was in similar situations, and it seemed like her being Robin and Savannah was very much so close, you know, very much so close, very connected. It seemed like they had a true friendship, you know, and both of them had like a I don't give a F type of thing about them. But you know, where Savannah was very much so classy with it, Robin was, I'm in your face and I don't give a damn and I hold no apologies, you know. Whereas, you know, I would say that Savannah was, you know, a little bit comical about it, because when she went out, you know, to the New Year's Eve party, she was like, you know, hell yeah, I'm gonna take your man, you know, I'm gonna flirt my butt off and then take your man. But I think that it was jokingly, you know, her saying that she's saying you know, I'm desperate, I have no morals, and I'll take your man. But I don't think it was like literal. I took that as being like a joke because of how the women were so weird to her at the table and how they treated her at the table, you know. And her, you know, dealing with Lionel, and her, you know, it was just funny because in the book she ended up actually getting married and getting a divorce, and her husband and the things that he did, but it just never worked out because they both kind of came from two different worlds and such, you know. Early on, it just seemed as though she was at a place where she was really desperate for love. So seeing how she ended up, you know, getting married and all of these things, I feel as though, you know, she felt like she was doing it and felt as though she should do it for her mom. But this man, you know, he had a I would say pornographic addiction in the book, you know, and how her ending turned out being is just was like, man.
Career wise, it's completely dominating. She's now getting her own show. She's killing it. Romantically, she's also gotten married during this time. She's gotten married to a guy she met at church. They were happy for some years. Then it turned out they weren't. They were no longer compatible. Like, they were forcing it. She was no longer happy. And then one day when he's away on a work trip, she goes into his room looking for something. Her computer crashes. She needs to use his, and it's just so much porn. And he has been having cyber sex with different women, a whole thing. So they end up getting a divorce.
But Savannah, I did a video on Savannah talking about how Savannah was my favorite character in the entire movie. I just love me some Savannah because her mom was always stepping in her business, always having an opinion. And I loved in the book how they did dialogue. But even the movie, the dialogue was amazing as well. But yeah, I just feel as though this is one of the things where these women were desperate for love in a very desperate and intentional way, where we're dating these men, getting connected to these men, being around these men, but we want marriage, we want babies, we want, the end, and our biological clock are ticking. Okay, so when is this gonna happen for us? What's like the hold up, And it's crazy because I say that Robin, I think that she was the most naive, but also, there was some naiveness in all of them. I'm just talking about Robin and Savannah. I'm going to go to Gloria, and I'm going to go just talk about Bernadine as well in a minute. But when I talk about these two women, I feel as though they had the highest level of, I would say, okay, modest level of delusion, okay, because they were very much so naive, as in, they felt as though these men were going to leave them, meaning Savannah and Robin, although they made it very clear that they're with other people. They knew that these men were full on married. These men were full on, they were well aware that these men had other people, but they were desperately in love, and they were desperate about wanting love.
I've loved this man forever. And now that we've got another chance, I don't want to blow up by making him think I don't have any faith in him. Do you know what I mean?
Dealt with these people very intentional as far as, hey, we want the outcome to be you be with me, but not just be with me, but you see me as worthy. I remember when in the movie she said that, hey, I want a house in Scottsdale, and then Michael was like, I own a house in Scottsdale.
I mean, what do you want from a man?
Everything.
Could you be more specific?
I want to have a house in Scottsdale.
I own a house in Scottsdale. What else?
I want to get married. And I want to have kids. 2. Maybe 3.
And?
I want to eat out. 2, maybe 3 times a week. I want to have babies. I want to go away for long weekends. I want to have a family. I want to be happy.
You don't want much?
She was like, I want to get married. I want to have kids, 2, maybe 3. I want to go alone, away for long weekends. I want to be happy. And I was like, yes, what woman does not want that? What woman does not want a person that knows is her? And not just anybody, a person that just, as that has their stuff together as much as that woman does, Nobody wants to be attached to bullish, okay? Not you having 4, 5, 6, 7 baby mamas, or not you having, a bunch of kids and not being able to really assort yourself and put your life in order, but you expect me to come to the table with not as much as you do and have to settle because I want happiness. No, women want to find happiness. People want to find happiness. I don't even want to just put it towards women. They want happiness at their level. If I'm coming to and I'm offering this and that, and I am who I am, I want a man that can match that. And in this movie, I think that that's what's celebrated as far as these women are being educated women. These women have it all, but no one to share it with. And I think that's where the desperation come in, specifically with Robin and Savannah, because they are aware that these men have different people, but for whatever reason, it feels so good. I remember Savannah saying, once you get used to treating good, she's like, how her body used to crave that man. And she said, once you get used to treating good, you can't go back to bullishing, okay? Because you can't just go back to just messing around. No, you know what it takes, and you know what your body wants. She said, my body used to crave save this man, you know. And I think that although he was married, she just felt it was just an undeniable connection, you know, compared to Lionel, to where, you know, it was a wham bam thank you ma'am, no. And he stole her money and didn't even give her change back, okay. But this man, for whatever reason, she wanted him bad, you know. And I think because of how it felt, he had it all. He was a doctor, he was well off, you know. He was just, it just felt like, okay, he matches it, he you know, checks off all the boxes, and he's as successful in, you know, his career as I am, and I want this for myself. This is the image of, you know, what a good person looks like for me, you know. I want this. And for whatever reason, it just was not occurring for her, you know. He wasn't the right person for her, and I think it broke her heart. But she had to let him go towards the end, because she was like, no, you're married, you know, telling her mom, you should be happy that I'd rather live alone than like be up here behind some two-timing chump that's cheating on his wife. I deserve better. And you know, I watched this movie and they said, even if I don't deserve the best, I certainly won't take worse. Sorry, excuse me. I certainly won't take the worst. You know, even if you feel as though I don't deserve the best, I certainly will not just accept the worst. And to me, a person that is, you know, belong and attached or married to someone else and treating me as a side chick, that's the worst, you know. And I'm speaking as Savannah, so I understand where she was coming from. But, you know, her need of like wanting somebody to love. I remember the girls' night when they was all together. Her need of wanting that man to love her, like, oh my God, he's married with a child, and I just love him so desperately, lusting and wanting something that I may never ever get, because every time he's promising, oh, okay, wait, just wait a little bit longer, okay, just wait a little bit longer, okay, just wait a little bit longer, and damn it, I'm not getting what I want, you know. And it's like sad. Even in like the situation with Savannah, this man had a whole wife, you know, a whole wife and children. You know, I remember like she saying that, hey, oh, he was saying his kids would be too hurt if he leave. You know, Robin was saying that his kid would be too hurt to when if Russell was to leave. And after a while, she just got sick of it, but she loved him so much nobody else could compare, you know. And she was still dealing with Russell even after she thought she moved on with Troy, little, you know how he was. Russell called her and she was running so thirsty to talk to Russell. And then Savannah was like, I hope that ain't Russell. She's like, no, it's not Russell. She's like, and she was like, so what if it is? She was like, girl, just enjoy the low life as long as you can, girlfriend, and goodbye. Because she knew her girl was like twisted and mixed and all head over heels over Russell, and she was never gonna get what she wanted from him. And it just broke my heart, because man, that girl, that woman, child, loved her some Russell. It was all about Russell, and for whatever reason, he just wasn't the right one for her. But you know, like I said, Michael was, because I read the book. And yes, definitely, I'm not going to give too much spoilers. I might talk about it a little bit, but no, I'm not going to get too much into it. But we are definitely going to talk about Bernadine, because child, Bernadine was the person that did it right, okay? Bernadine went to, you know, she went to school, helped her husband start his business and stuff, you know, like was the secretary, you know, built him up. She did all the things that people tell you that you're supposed to do, you know, stand by a good man, hold him down, help him, build him up, do all of these great things only for you to be chosen as second best. And she didn't deserve that. She didn't deserve that, because she followed all the rules, did everything that people say that you're supposed to do to find the person or your person, only to have him say that he's leaving her for a white woman. Child, a white woman broke my heart, had me just because she didn't deserve that. Her kids did not deserve that. She did everything the right way. But it's okay, because karma is a mother effer, okay? A mother effer, okay, when I tell you. Because that white woman left him, child, in the book, left him hot and cold, you know, left him. And what's crazy is we find out that the man that she ended up messing around with, because yeah, she too was messing with a married man. It seemed like all of them was messing with a married man. Well, allegedly, because that man wasn't married, and the marriage that they thought they had was all in void, you know, because she ended up supposedly marrying that man, the guy that was played by Wesley Snipes, character. No, It didn't turn out good. You know, he basically used her for all the little money that she had. You know, she had a seemingly prescription addiction. Her daughter came out as being a lesbian, you know. Child, it just was absolutely crazy. But her stepdaughter, which is their daughter, you know, her husband John's daughter with the side chick, ended up being a sweet, you know, funny, you know, all up in my business kind of little girl. But you know, because John and that woman ended up having a kid together, and the little girl loved her so much, and she and John ended up making peace towards the end. So I love that. But still, it was a lot of mess, because Bernadine didn't deserve half the stuff that happened to her, because she did all the things that people tell you that you're supposed to do right.
John left Bernie.
What?
And for a white girl.
You lying. For a white girl.
Honey, if I'm lying, I'm flying. I saw her just the other night at the Circle K, and she was a mess.
To go to therapy because she had a pill dependency. To go to rehab, and she really got better. At least seemingly so. She's kind of back on track with her career, thinking about what the next phase of that will be. Her and her ex-husband John are in a really good place. And you know, karma comes back around. So eventually, you know, his wife is like, I don't want to be here. She leaves him, moves to another country with another man. Is like, yeah, but I'm not taking our daughter, so you can deal with that. Crazy. But it allows everyone to grow and evolve, and John issues that apology and lets Bernadine know that it wasn't really about her. It was about him and where he was at. And it's beautiful to see that evolution. It's great.
And even while she did all the things right, it still wasn't enough. She still ended up getting the demise that she ended up getting. And I just was like, no. Because you don't deserve that. Not at all. Did not deserve that. None of the girls did. Robin didn't deserve it. Savannah didn't deserve it. Bernadine didn't deserve it. None of them. And I just hate these like things happening to these women because they were successful, you know. Successful. Had their stuff together. Gloria owned her own, you know, hair salon. Bernadine was educated, you know. Robin had her stuff, her business and all of that.
Robin, why don't you just come on out of my shop, go back to that little hot shit insurance company you work and love? Because, baby doll, I don't punch in or out. I got it like that, remember? Lunch hour is over.
Going on to where, you know, she just was a businesswoman, you know. And even like Savannah being a producer, like all of these women were successful, you know, and they did not deserve what they ended up getting at the end. What they got, they didn't deserve it. But I guess that's just how it works out sometimes. I feel like these women just reminded you of how important love is, you know, because for a woman, I heard this before, saying how these women can have all of everything, can have money, can have, you know, everything, but it don't mean nothing. There have been women who kill themselves, break their back to get these degrees, but once they get a man, they end up being a wife and a mother and stuck at home, where the man is the breadwinner and doing all of these different things, where they feel as though they can relax and lean on the fact that they can produce and reproduce children for this man, you know, and that's what it ends up being. So I was over here thinking in my mind, like, like that could be true, you know. A lot of the times women, this is what it ends up being, you know. You're the type of person, you procreate, you reproduce, that's your life, you know, having children and, you know, loving this person and creating babies, and just your life being centered around just, you know, being relaxed. So finding the perfect partner is a lot important to women, you know. It's very much so important. And I think that in different ways, Gloria lost sight of herself. Gloria was super delusional because her ex-husband, I wouldn't even want to say ex-husband, her child's father, because I don't think they were ever married. Her child's father, honestly, was gay. He was gay, and she was forcing herself on him, but it shows a certain level of desperation. All of these women was desperate.
I should be honest with you.
About what?
About me.
What about you?
Do you remember how I didn't respond to you last time?
Of course. I remember. I thought it was because I gained weight, and...
I have been bisexual for years.
What?
You heard me right. I'm not anymore. I'm gay.
David, you don't have to go to this extreme just because...
Look, Gloria, I don't have to lie about this. I've lied too long as it is. I'm staying at the Biltmore. If he ever wants to see me, he has to make the first move. If I don't hear from him by noon, I'm checking out. And I mean just that.
You can't get me to thinking no otherwise. All of these women were desperate, so much so that they, minimized their self and settled, Every one of them was dealing with a man that did not want them, a man that was involved with somebody else. Gloria, her man, had a whole nother situation, like where he was another man because he was a gay man, I don't know if he was single at the time or whatever, but his type was another person. And she was minimizing herself in that situation to where the man gets to see her as being worthy. But you'll never really, even if you got your stuff together, you would never, or got skinnier, you would never ever be worthy. It's not about you gaining weight because he's not interested at all in women.
Who again went through it in his book, right? You lose the love of your life. After so much time by yourself, you finally let yourself be open, and you've had so many good years together that in the end you have to be grateful, even though it's horrible and devastating and so sad. And we watch her son go through it with his wife, okay, who been thotting and bopping in these streets. So tragedies on tragedies, but there are glimmers and possibilities of light. She pivots her business. She ends up going into a partnership with one of her long-term beauticians in her shop, and she's turning it into a spa, and it's becoming everything she desired. She was able to go onto the boat that she had bought for her husband that he never got to step foot on, and though there are no possibilities for romance, she does eventually take off her wedding ring, turns it into a pendant, and goes into a toy store and buys herself something. And we see that she, even though they're older now, right, they're like 50 plus, even though they're all older, she hasn't let go of the possibility of love and romance for herself and getting back in touch with her full womanhood. And I love that for her.
And he wasn't there for your son, so I don't even know why she even was trying to, get a little bit of tail on that end. And it just screamed desperation. But she was so desperate for love and tired and sick and tired of being alone. She had strong female friendships that was consistent. And Gloria, out of the group, everybody thought that she was just so strong and that she didn't need nobody to hold her because that was the image she was showing her friends. But deep down inside, no, you weren't strong. You really wanted somebody to hold you, so much so that you were minimizing yourself, bringing yourself down, so much so that this man just sleep with you just to get a little piece of something, just something you could hold on to because it's been so long since it's happened, and you're like, man, he's did me a favor last time. Lord Jesus, I hope he be merciful tonight. And it's like, girl, what? Man, there's a certain level of desperation that came with every one of these women, I would say even, we would think that Bernadine would have escaped it, but Bernadine was messing around with a married man and he was popping up at her house and all of that. And even the man that ended up being a scammer, the man towards the end, after she and John got the divorce or whatever, that she messed around with this man, he told her, I'm married and my wife is white and she has cancer. So regardless, because in the book, you find out that no, he was a scammer and all of these things, but he up front gave her the idea that, hey, I was married, I was with somebody else. That should have been enough to where she left him alone. But it was so much of desperation, the need of feeling wanted and needed and desired. It just came over them or overtook them that they, temporarily lost sight of common sense. Some people, didn't see until they saw, but common sense went out the window when you put your need of love or your need for wanting someone to desire you, someone to care about you, someone to really want to be with you. All of these women just wanted love, just wanted love and was willing to compromise their self in order to get love. And as individuals, as people, human beings, men, women, I'm a woman, so as a lady, I've been there. It's very easy to look down your nose at people and say, hey, I've been there, okay? I've been the woman that is, oh, I'm Robin to where I just, I minimize myself, and I, was very naive, a naive type of love, to where I was okay with things that I normally would not be okay with, just for the idea or the promise of love, or just lingering around for somebody. I've been there, waiting for them to change their mind when you know deep down they're never going to change your mind, and you date this person, that person, just go through people that you know don't deserve or will waste your time, because you're just hoping, saving all your love for somebody that'll never give it to you, as long as you keep hanging around. You got to have the courage and lift your head up high and move on with the rest of your life, because you keep sitting on the side waiting for somebody to consider you, you'll never be considered. You have to consider yourself and choose yourself. But I've had that type of love. I've been in that type of love. I've been in that type of love where I'm willing to compromise morals. Yes, I've been in that type of love. I'm not going to sit up in here and pretend and front to you guys like I've never been there. I've also been in the type of love to where I just, I just want the feeling of it. Like, I know all the facts, and that's where I would say Savannah came in. Knew all the facts, been dealing with this person for years, but because you just want to feel loved and wanted, you go against yourself. You gaslight yourself into believing that this is not what it is, when all the signs say it is. Even though everybody around you is trying to, make it seem as though you should just be okay with it. One thing for sure, it is what it is, and you gaslight yourself into believing and thinking like, no, it's not that, when it is that, and it's that, but you just don't want to face it. I've been in that type of love where I gaslight myself, have myself thinking that no, it's not what my eyes see, because she knew that man, that married man, the State Farm guy. She knew he was involved. She knew he was married. She knew he was with somebody. She even knew he had a child, but she gaslit herself into believing to where, nope, this is fine. This is fine, even though everything in your body is telling you it's not fine. It's not okay. It's not going to turn out the way you want it to. But you just completely ignore self, ignore your mental, ignore what's in your head, your female intuition or your intuition in general, and telling you that this is not right. You gaslight yourself into believing that this is where you want to be. I've been there. I've been that woman. I've been in that type of situation where I gaslit myself even after knowing the facts, because I just love the idea or the promise of real love, and then you'll never get it, or you're not receiving it. I've been that person, I've been that woman. And I've also been the type of woman to do it all right. I followed all the rules. I did this and that, and it's supposed to turn out right for me, and it doesn't. Life disappoints me. Life does a twist and turn, and now I'm stuck in the middle, making stupid decisions, dealing with people that I really don't want to deal with, making just feelings, just quick decisions, what they call it, those type of decisions where you just make like impulsive, that's the word, impulsive decisions, where you're doing it off of hurt, you're doing it off of temporary emotion, where somebody had all the opportunity to do you right because you did right by them, but they choose to do you wrong. Bernadine had that acrimony type of situation to where, yep, she could have switched up and said, that's my house, that's mine, but she learned how to be content with it being gone, even after all the work she put in, and it should have been hers, but it never was. That type of love. I've been there. I've been the type of person where I've done right by somebody, did the right things by somebody. Why did I end up in that situation? Why did I end up being in that type of position? I've been there, and you got to lift your head up and keep on going. I've been that type of person. I'm not going to sit up in here and act like I ain't never been the type of person who did it all right, who it was supposed to turn out good for, and it didn't. Yep. I've been Bernadine. And I it's sad, but I've been there where you did it all right and it's supposed to turn out any other way, but it didn't. And now you're just going, from one individual to the next, trying to find something, making impulsive decisions because you're temporarily hurt and you don't know what the next part in your life is going to be. You don't know what it's going to be. You don't know who, when, where, how. You don't know. But you wake up every day just hopeful. I've been Bernadine, but I also been Gloria. It's sad to say it, but I've been Gloria, putting all my love, all my care, all my attention into my child, putting, all of myself into my child, so much so that I have to admit to myself that I let certain pieces of myself go, or I'm just so desperate, so in need, after forgetting about myself, after not thinking I was worthy of anything, after, abandoning myself. And I'm just, hoping that somebody will do me a favor, do me a favor and step into my life and give me some conversation, give me some intimacy, and I'm willing to, minimize myself, put myself in jeopardy, my mental health, and put certain things in jeopardy just to get a promise of love. I've been there before. We've all been there. We've all been these women, been in a position to where I'm still speaking about Gloria, where I know better, and I knew it was what it was, and it's even past gaslighting, because it's a sense of full desperation to where I start thinking that I'm not good enough anymore. I'm not worthy. So I just take whatever and with whomever that I can, whoever is willing and ready to give me scraps. I'm taking it. Okay. I'm just accepting more than less than I'm sorry, feel as though that I'm worth, just because of the promise of it's gonna feel good, the promise of having human interaction, just, I know, and I should know, and I know better than that, but I'm willing to put all my self-love aside in order to feel something, just a desperate need to feel something. I've been Gloria before. I've been every one of these women in Waiting to Exhale at different places and stages in my life, different places where I felt like I needed something. It was a certain level of desperation that we all feel as human beings. And I think that Waiting to Exhale shines that. It shows that this level of desperation exists, and it's okay. It's called being a human being. It's okay. It's okay to say that I felt this way. It's okay to say that I wanted this type of love, and for whatever reason, it did not find me. I need to love myself. If that's one thing I learned, is that you have to have, true friendships and people that care about you and value you apart from a relationship. And then I also learned that you have to value yourself, build your relationship with yourself, because at the end of the day, if you don't get the things that you want, all the crazy things in your wildest dream that you dreamed about, if you don't get those things, at least you have yourself, And a lot of people lose themselves, get rid of themselves, forget all about themselves. You should hold on to yourself, and that's what's going to keep you going. Your friendships, the people that love you, be it family relationships, that people that unconditionally love you and is willing to be there for you, not to use you, not to manipulate you, but truly care for you. The people that are a part of your village, your backbone, the people that you can go to when you're broken and, stuck in the middle and not knowing what's next for you. Those people, are important. Those people are worthy. Those people need to be in your life, Hold on to those people and don't forget about yourself, because we all, as women or people, men, women, individuals, have played a role to where we forgot about ourselves. And Waiting to Exhale is a certain level of desperation that human beings have felt, Everybody has felt in one, chance or one place in their life, but we are okay and we're alive. And once you're alive, that's all you can ask for. Just hope and pour into yourself. Have people, if you have friends that wish you well, you'll have the chance to where you can finally breathe, you can finally exhale, and you deserve that, in my humble opinion. But that's all I'm gonna say. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this video. I love you guys so much, and bye bye.